Okay, this is our time traveler project. So our end product is going to look something like this. So you are putting yourself into an old photo. You are not replacing yourself with somebody in the photo. You are placing yourself in there as if you time traveled and you are in that picture. So you're going to use your photo. So go ahead and do file open, find your old photo, and then you also need to do file open and open a photo of yourself. So I have this silly picture of me. And the first thing that we're actually going to do is everybody's going to make their photo black and white because it makes this product a lot easier. So if you go to image at the top, adjustments, and then go black and white, and then click OK. So we've got black and white here, and then we don't have to do quite as much. Like I said, it's a little bit easier. So then I'm going to go over here. I'll change mine to black and white later, but we are going to copy, like just select us and put us into this picture. That's going to be our first step. So you are going to use the quick selection tool, and your photo, depending on, the colors and everything, it might be easy, it might be difficult. But I'm going to show you a new tool, and this is called the quick mask mode. And that's if you're struggling to collect just the pixels of you. So I'm just going to go ahead and start collecting information. You can see that it's grabbing some of this stuff that I don't necessarily want. I'll go back and fix that after. And I'm just slowly kind of picking up the information. It's actually going pretty smooth, surprisingly. Okay, so, all right. For the most part, I think I got what I want. So with the exception of some of this stuff, this dude back here, I'm going to show you how to fix those things. We have been using Refine Edge. We are not going to use that because we're going to have to use this later, and we can't use Refine Edge later. So I'm going to teach you a new thing. This is called Quick Mask Mode. So down here under your little color picker, there is a little rectangle with a circle inside it. If you don't have that, then you need to go up here in the search bar and you can click that and type in Quick Mask Mode, and then you can select that. So we're going to go into our quick mask mode, and there should be red all around your picture if you've done it correctly. You have to make a selection first in order to do this. So I've made my selection, now I'm in quick mask mode. So I want to just have me in the picture. I want to get rid of like this person here, collected that information, and then some of these areas around here. So it gets a little bit confusing, but your brush tool is everything that you don't want selected. Your eraser tool is everything you do want selected. So I'll go over that again. So I'm going to switch to my brush tool. So I just click B on my keyboard, and I am going to start painting. Oh, and by the way, your color picker, if this looks gray, then you need to click these two mini boxes, and you want to make sure this top box is black, this bottom one is white. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And you can click those mini boxes in order to change that. So this needs to be black, that has to be white. Okay, now we're on the brush tool, and I'm going to start painting over, and you can see that it's turning that man in the background red, which is good. I don't want that man in the background. Same thing here. I'm going to clean that up, and you can zoom in, zoom out, whatever you want to do. Now say I accidentally mess up, or there's like this little piece here. So like, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I am going to switch to the eraser. So E on my keyboard, I'll switch to the eraser, and you can change the size of your brush, as you know, using the brackets. And this, the eraser tool, you paint over the area. That is everything you do want in your picture, everything that you do want selected. So some of these smaller pieces of hair, I might want to include those in my image as well. Okay, so you can clean up your picture that way. And then there's even that little piece right here. I'm going to switch back to the brush and paint over that. And you can always fix stuff afterwards, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, once you are done with quick mask mode, and I'm going kind of fast, so mine's not super neat. Yours will be neater than mine. Once you're done, you need to get out of quick mask mode. So click, all you have to do is click that again, and it goes regular, and you can see the selection. So it basically selects everything. You have more control over what you're selecting. And actually, I didn't get this part, but I'm going to show you how to fix that once we transfer it over. So I have my selection. I'm going to copy and paste this over to my other picture. So I'm going to do Command C to copy that, or Control C. And then I'm going to switch over to my picture here and Command V and paste it in. Okay. So I'm obviously huge, so I'm going to switch to the Move tool, make sure these two boxes are selected so you can change the size. And I am going to grab from the corner, hold down Shift so I don't distort my picture, and just kind of get it about the size that I need. I'm going to put myself right in there. So as you can see, my shoulders, they're not, I'm in front of them, and I'll show you how to fix that in a second. But right now I want to try to get my size about the size of these guys. So what I'm going to do is lower the opacity on myself. So over here, lower the opacity, and then I'm going to put myself over one of their faces just to get an idea of like the size of my head, what it needs to be. Maybe I'll try him over here. So what looks kind of natural, a little bit smaller. Okay. So I'll place that here. You can even turn yourself. So if you want to change the angle just a little bit, you can do that. Get it how you want it, actually. Okay, so then I can put my opacity back up all the way 100%. Okay, so then I am going to change myself to black and white. So up at the top, Image, Adjustments, and then we're going to go black and white. Click OK. Now all of them, I don't quite match the black and white. Even though I am black and white, it doesn't quite match the same as theirs. So there's a couple things that you're going to change depending on your photo. So I am going to make myself a little bit lighter. So up here at the top, I'm going to go Image, Adjustments, Brightness, and Contrast. So overall, they're a lot lighter than me, and I'm going to boost that. So I'm going to brighten myself up, and then maybe there's a little more contrast. They have pretty dark darks on them, so there's a lot of contrast in this picture. I'm going to do the same, and if it's not perfect, I'm going to show you something else to do later on. Okay, so that's pretty close. I will do that. If you have a kind of blurry old photo, like pretty old, you can also go to Filter and then Blur, and then this Gaussian blur. And that's if you have a super blurry photo. Now my photo is not very blurry, so I'm not actually going to use this, but just in case you need to, you can decide on how blurry you want your picture. So I'm going to exit out because I don't need that. There's also some noise in my picture, meaning there's a little bit of speckly, so you might look too sharp in your picture. So if there's some speckles in your photo, you might want to do this. So if you go to Filter again at the top, and then go to Noise, and then you're going to do Add Noise. And obviously you don't want it this much, but you can lower this and just do just a little bit of noise to add to your photo. I might even just do like 1. Okay. All right. So those are some of the adjustments that you can make. Now I need to make myself look like I'm in this picture and I'm not covering Joe Walsh here behind me. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my layer off for just a second. And what I need to do is I actually need to make a copy of these guys right here, because I have to make myself look like I'm behind them. So we're going to go use the quick selection tool again. Make sure you're on the layer with the photo and not your own layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, and actually this is a really good photo. It's selecting everyone for me already. But if your photo is kind of difficult, you might want to use that quick mask mode again. So if I go into quick mask, I do need to edit this a little bit. Quick mask mode again, the B is everything you don't want, so the brush tool, and then I can again paint over the areas, and then the E, if I messed up, eraser tool, everything you do want selected, if that makes sense. It does get a little bit confusing, brush tool, but once you get used to it, it makes sense. Actually, that is his shoulder. Okay, so I'm going quick, so it doesn't look that great. Then I'm going to get out of quick mask, and we have our selection here. Actually going to make a copy of them. So I'm going to do Command C, Command V, and you can see in my layers that I have a copy of just them. So then when I turn my layer back on and I drag this in between, now you can see that I am behind them. This is really helpful. So I can now place myself wherever I need to. Maybe I want my shirt showing just a little bit. Okay, so then I look like I'm in the picture. If you zoom in, you can kind of see the edge here. So I'm actually going to use the eraser tool. So I'm going to make sure I'm on this layer here, and I'm going to switch to the eraser and sort of just clean that up. Okay, tiny details like that. The last thing I'm going to show you is actually the burn and dodge, and this is one of the main tools, and I actually use this tool quite a bit. It's very helpful. I didn't understand what it was at first, but I guess dodging and burning is a Lightroom technique. So if you're using like all the physical tools of photographing using a dark room and things like that, this is what you would use. So actually I'm going to use the dodge tool, which is lightening, and then the burn tool, which is darkening. So it's kind of nice because you can directly paint. I can see there's some really dramatic shadows in here. Again, there's a lot of contrast in my picture. So I'm going to change the size using my brackets and actually darken some of my areas. So I'm on my layer, and you can see you can directly choose which areas are being darkened. And then I'm going to go maybe up in my face. That's a pretty hard line right there, and I don't like that. So I'm going to undo that. And actually, I'm going to soften this up. So if you click this arrow pointing down, I can lower the hardness of my brush. There we go. So a little more subtle. Maybe I just want that on my face. So to create the dramatics. And then the dodge tool is to brighten spots. For me, I won't do as much, but you get the idea. So you are going to make yourself look like you are supposed to be in this photo as much as possible using all of those tools. Once you're finished, go ahead and save it as a JPEG or a PNG, and then you can turn it in to Google Classroom under that Time Traveler Final.